Hello, friends, and welcome back to another conversation in the career series with OrbitShift. I'm your coach and mentor, Sai Kumar Chandran, and I want to spend some time today talking about some noticeable actions that you can take to improve your gravitas in the next 30 days. Now, come to think of this, that you walked out of a very important meeting or you were leading a very critical project and you were given this feedback that you were appearing shallow, or your depth could not be recognized, or people could not trust your judgment, or you did not look confident. Hence, work on your gravitas. Now, this feedback could have come from your manager, a client, HR, but in any of these scenarios, it can be very difficult for us to maneuver, especially if we are a subject matter expert. We are left wondering, what did we do? What happened to all that prep that I put in? I ensured that my presentation was done right. I ensured that I had prepped enough. The data was there. Despite that, what happened? Why did I get this feedback that I lacked gravitas? Important question to ask. And this is where you must think, what are some of those things because of which people will take you seriously? People will feel safe and people will trust you for the judgments that you're helping them arrive or the decisions that you're helping them to take. In my experience, there are a few simple things that we can do, and these are corrections of mistakes. Several times in a meeting, because of our excitement or time pressure or the need to move on, we push. We push with sentences, we push with interjections, we push with questions, we push in so many ways, sometimes even getting up and grabbing the board and starting to write and do things. There's a sense of hurry or a sense of urgency, as if something will get missed if we would not get into action. This is where the first change needs to come. No matter what situation it is, someone with gravitas will come across as steady and grounded. So my invitation to you, number one change that you need to make is pause before you respond. Now, if you are a subject matter expert, you will definitely have enough that you can run through your mind in the next few seconds once you pause. And I bring that angle of being a subject matter expert because without real subject matter expertise, without real experience under your belt, it is difficult to come across as intelligent and as a person with good amount of gravitas. So if you lack either one of these, you have a problem. But considering you have some amount of experience and you have good subject matter expertise, pause. That pause will give you the time to reflect and give you the choice that you can make in that situation. Choice of words, choice of how to place those words. Are you going to make a sentence, or are you going to ask a question, or are you going to invite everybody for a reflection, or is there a change of action that you're going to do in that time? Now, as you pause, the second change that you need to make is begin to speak in implications. Implications means you start talking about, if we were to do this, if this action was taken, or if we were to avoid doing this, and then you're calling the attention to a certain implication, a positive outcome or a negative outcome. Now, I say this because many of us talk in our opinions. Our opinions are very colored. We say, we think, I think, possibly we should, I feel that, as much as our experience goes. Much of this sounds like opinions. Much of this sounds like you are holding on to some sense of your identity instead of making a very adult-like data-based recommendation. So in that first change that you make, which is pause before you respond, you get the time to think about what are the implications and how do I string my words together so that I can come across as someone who has that relevant experience and the knowledge. So the second change to make is speak in implication. Now, the third place where we go wrong is speaking too much. Many of us want to explain. Some of us even believe that there are these beautiful stories that we have strung up in our mind, and those long, wounded stories will give the other person a refreshing thought. and we tend to over explain. Stop that. Remember, that room may have people who are at least as intelligent as you are, or maybe even more intelligent than you are. So, what should you do? Reduce your words and increase the structure that you use. And this is a step up of the first two. So, the first change I said was pause before you respond. The second one is speak in implication. And the third one then is to introduce a structure. What kind of structures? You could speak things like, hey, here is the context. Given this context, here are three choices that we can make. In these choices are embedded these risks and the approach to managing those risks. If we make these choices, here is a bunch of outcomes that we can target. Or you could say, hey, here is a conservative bunch of actions that we can do. Here is something that is a little bit more progressive. And if you really want to be aggressive, here are some choices that we can make. Your objective by increasing the structure and reducing your words is to start putting out points which everybody can deliberate on. It is to help everyone who's trailing at that moment in the meeting or in that discussion to catch up and start progressing. It's a very good way to take everyone along when you clarify things using structures. And as you do this, remember, instead of talking too much and explaining too much, you can also ask questions. And that's the fourth change that you can make. Every once in a while, possibly every 15 minutes into a conversation or a discussion, maybe even into some 7 to 10 minutes into a conversation or discussion, ask a powerful question that will assimilate everything that we have discussed, or a powerful question from where you can progress to the next point. Questions like, so let's see, in the last 10 minutes, what are the things that we have put on table? Or what could be 3 things that we can discuss in the next 15 minutes, which can progress all of us? Or who amongst us has some point to contribute that has not come into the mix just yet, which is making us biased in the way we are looking at this? Or you could say something like, hey, what could be some obvious options that we are ignoring, trying to intellectualize this and overcomplicate it? There could be tons of questions that you can ask given that context. So with those 4 steps where you start pausing, you start talking in implications, you introduce more structures, and you ask questions every once in a while, you've already placed yourself significantly well into the center of action. It's almost as if you have become a facilitator, someone who's holding things together, yet because of your subject matter expertise, you're also contributing in that meeting. Last but not the least, meetings and our corporate discussions or political discussions or any business discussions sometimes tend to go overboard. Emotions run high, and especially in high stakes conversation. This is where you must prevent yourself from going overboard. And that's the 5th and important grounding that you need to make. Stay steady when others get emotional. Now, emotions could be hidden emotions or emotions could be displayed emotions. Always watch out. Hey, where am I coming from? Am I using sufficient logic in this scenario? Is a fear taking over? Is an anxiety taking over? Is there some compulsion that is taking over? Stay in that adult zone. We all experience emotion. You must also learn how to table that. Sometimes you may even want to call out the emotion in the room saying that, hey, I think we are all getting a little tense about this. How can we start facilitating each other to be logical and not to get overridden by our emotional elements or our stress elements or our inner needs? Can we all listen to our inner voice right now and table what are our fears so that we can work through them? Many statements like this. In all of this, do you have to have decently good language skills? Yes, absolutely. So as I leave these 5 things that you can do to become noticeable in your meetings, discussions, etc., and for people to start believing that they can feel safe, they can trust your judgments, hence the title of Gravitas can get attached to you. You must do these 5 things, but remember what I said, you have to have sufficient experience, depth, and expertise in your area, and good amount of language skills to make all of this happen. Remember, gravitas is not something that you randomly add to your conversation. It is something that people feel that you have when your adult like logical choices, intelligent choices are there for people to experience. People have to experience you to attach the title of gravitas to you. So next time you're in a discussion, pay attention to some of this. Can you crack the code of gravitas? Yes, all it takes is some fundamentals like language skills and your expertise and some experience, and these 5 steps that I gave you. Wish you the very best with this, and I will see you very soon with another critical discussion in the career series. Till then, implement some of this and get the best results. Looking forward to talking to you soon. This is your coach and mentor, Sai Kumar Chandran, signing off.